All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to solve equations that involve some distribution, so some parentheses, and some combining like terms. So if you're in my classroom, the assignment that goes with this is called solving by combining like terms, right up here. All right, so this is going to look complicated, but we're going to take it one step at a time, so don't let yourself get overwhelmed, okay? So we're going to have 2 times negative 4x plus 2, and then plus 5x minus 2 equals negative 19. Okay? The first thing we're going to do is get rid of our parentheses using the distributive property. So we're going to take this 2 times both things in the parentheses. So 2 times negative 4x is negative 8x, and 2 times 2 is 4. So that becomes that. And then just copy the rest of it down. Okay? Now, these two x's are on the same side, so we're going to combine them. We are not going to add 8x to both sides. On one of the other examples, I said to make a big wall. This is where it really helps. If I put things together that are on the same side of the wall, I'm not going to do the opposite. If I add 8x here, I have to add 8x over to the other side to keep both sides equal. But I'm not doing that. I'm just putting this with this, okay? So negative 8x plus 5x is negative 3x. And a positive 4 minus 2 is a positive 2. So I'm just combining these two terms because they're alike, and I'm combining these two terms because they're alike. They don't have an x on it. Then I bring down my equal sign, and I bring down my negative 19. Now this looks just like the equations we've been solving. So I've got a plus 2 there. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, bring down a negative 3x. Negative 19 minus 2 is a negative 21. Double check that on your calculator if you have trouble with your negatives. But if you're at negative 19 and you subtract 2 more, you're at negative 21. Divide both sides by negative 3, and that gives us x equals positive 7. Notice that on this problem, we cannot do the shortcut that we did when we had problems that just had that equal to a number. If you could divide both sides by 2, then you could take a shortcut. But we've got a 5x and a 2 there and a 19, so it's just easier to distribute and combine like terms. Okay, so let's do another one. So I have 3 times x plus 1 plus 4x plus 3 equals 34. Okay, again, I highly recommend making a great big wall here for your equal sign. Start by getting rid of your parentheses using the distributive property. So that's going to become 3x plus 3. And then just copy this down. Plus 4x plus 3 equals 34. Now we're going to combine like terms. We have a 3x and a 4x. That's going to become 7x. Then I have a 3 and a 3. That's going to become 6. And that equals 34. So far, everything I've done has been over here on this side of the equal sign, so I actually did 3 plus 3, and I didn't subtract 3 from both sides. I combined whatever the sign was that was on the number originally. Now I'm ready to get rid of this plus 6, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So I have a 7x equals 28, divide both sides by 7, and x is equal to 4. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. It's a lot of steps, but they're not complicated if you take them one step at a time. Okay, let's do one with a negative out in front. So let's say I have negative 4 times 2x plus 5 plus 5x minus 1 is equal to negative 48. Again, we're just going to take it one step at a time. Make your wall here. Okay, we're going to keep track of what we're doing with our equal sign. So take negative 4 times both of these things. That gives me a negative 8x. And then you could say plus a negative 20. I would just write minus 20. So you could bring that plus down and then say negative 4 times a positive 5 is a negative 20. But adding negative 20 is the same as subtracting 20. So I just write it like that. Then plus 5x minus 1 is equal to negative 48. Now I'm going to combine negative 8x and a positive 5x to get negative 3x, and a negative 20 and a negative 1 is negative 21. Okay. On your calculator, you could do negative 20 minus 1, or you could do negative 20 plus a negative 1. Either way, you're going to get negative 21. So now I'm going to add 21 to both sides to get rid of it and get the negative 3x alone. Negative 48 plus 21 is a negative 27. I'm going to subtract basically, the difference between the two is 27, and I have more negatives than positives, so I have a negative 27. Divide both sides by negative 3. And you get x equals a positive 7. Okay, so that is the first type of problem where you have the first type of problem on the assignment. We're going to have ones with parentheses, and all of the x's are on one side, and you've got to combine like terms. We also have ones that have a variable on both sides. So if I have 2x minus 5 is equal to negative x plus 19, we have x's on the right side and x's on the left side. We also have numbers on both sides. We've got to rearrange. I tell students it's a lot like organizing your clothes in drawers. You've got dresser drawers and you've got socks and underwear in all your drawers. You want to move all of your socks to one side and all of your underwear to the other side. It really doesn't matter which is which. It doesn't matter if you put all your letters on the left and all your numbers on the right, or vice versa. You just want to get all of your letters on one side and all of your numbers on the other side. I like to do it so that I have a positive number on my x. So I take the smaller one, so it's negative x, because negative 1 is smaller than 2, and I'm going to move it, so I'm going to add x to both sides. Now, if I get rid of this x, okay, I have to do the same thing over here. If I add x on this side, I have to add x over here. Well, I'm not going to add x to the 5 because they're not like terms. I'm going to add x to the 2x. So that's going to give me 3x minus 5, and then I have 19. And now this should look familiar. It looks like the two-step equations we've been doing. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I'm left with 3x on one side and 24 on the other. Divide both sides by 3, and you get x equals 8. Okay, now you could have also worked it by moving the 2x over and moving the 19 over, but then you have a lot of negatives as you're working the problem, and I like to avoid negatives if possible. Okay, so let's do x plus 2 is equal to 6x minus 18. So again, I like to avoid negatives. So I'm going to take the smaller one, the x, and subtract it from both sides. So minus x minus x. That leaves me a 2 on that side. 6x minus 1x, remember that means 1, is 5x minus 18.